You're listening to the Cantina Cast, your home for thought-provoking Star Wars talk. Join Albert and Jonesy in breaking down the latest news, trailers, movies, and of course, your favorite characters from a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cantina Cast. My name is Albert Padilla, and thank you for tuning in to this spoiler-free review of The Fallen Star by Claudia Gray. The Fallen Star marks the beginning of the end of Phase 1 for the High Republic era of novels, and much like Light of the Jedi and The Rising Storm, it delivers a Star Wars experience rich with suspense, anxiety, and is fully expected given the title and cover imagery, Genuine Heartfelt Loss. It does an admirable job in continuing some of the larger narrative threads found in Wave 2 while dangling a large number of more, even if we don't get many answers. If you've been a fan of the High Republic and you're caught up on all the novels, you're in luck. The Fallen Star is a relatively easy read and easy to pick up and immediately reconnect with, even if you've not done a reread of everything that's come before. For the more devout fans who have kept up with the comics and short stories, The Fallen Star won't reward your dedication much, but that was never the mission here. As of this review, and for me personally, it ranks slightly just behind Light of the Jedi in terms of overall enjoyment, with The Rising Storm still a clear head above both, but I've been extremely impressed with all three, and Claudia Gray and The Fallen Star is a very enjoyable read, even if there were some things I felt didn't meet expectations or at the very least didn't work for me personally. As the most seasoned Star Wars author on the Project Luminous team, Claudia Gray was tapped to pen this final adult novel of Phase 1, aptly titled Light of the Jedi, and within the first few chapters, it's clear as to why. Whether by design or by way of Varazine stones, choosing Gray to close out this trilogy allows her to showcase her fantastic gift for character development and character relationships, a bit of form she began in Lost Stars and has since been present in all of her Star Wars works, including the High Republic era young adult novel, Into the Dark. Several of the staple characters already established in the first two High Republic adult novels greatly benefit from Gray's treatment, but especially those of her own creation, namely the trio and crew of the vessel. We suspected this book would leave us sobered and gutted because of the potential of loss, and Claudia Gray has done a masterful job of achieving this through her character developments and the multiple entry points to connect with each of them. The emotional weight born of the Jedi's many personal and collective setbacks acts as a through line throughout the novel, and by end, it's that same weight that rips Starlight Beacon from space, leaving us with the burdens of loss, grief, and uncertainty. There are several themes present throughout the novel, but of particular note are those of fear, morality, and identity, which challenge many of the characters, old and new, Jedi and not. Call to question of the lines between justice and revenge, intuition and insecurity, and individual identity versus social identity. How does one navigate a path of recovery after a loss when we're unable to move beyond our emotions and feelings? How do we temper the fire that burns for justice when the id calls for revenge? Who are we when we strip away our identities rooted in society? How well do we really know ourselves? Gray does an incredible service in answering many of these questions through character self-reflection and introspective views, allowing them to grow and develop right before our eyes and nurture those seeds of hope. Now, where I felt The Fallen Star fell short and open to fair criticism was in the breadth and depth of the story, as it can feel a bit claustrophobic and confined at times, especially when it's meant to conclude a trilogy that's done a commendable job of championing galactic-wide unity. Muted here is the multiple fronts formula we've come to love and expect from flagship Star Wars storytelling, the kind that draws you to the edge of your seat, waiting and wanting to see how it'll all come together through time and space and ending in victory or tragedy. To be clear, these fronts are not missing, but they do feel smaller in scale and scope for an adult novel, leaving The Fallen Star feeling much more like a chamber piece rather than a grand galactic space opera. It's similar to how I felt when reading Into the Dark, notably another story set on a space station, but because that was a young adult novel, I didn't have those same expectations going in. Also, I found it odd that many of the characters we've grown to love in the comics and Star Wars Insider stories, and even some of those found in the previous two adult novels, were either hardly mentioned or absent altogether. Now, I understand this may be seen as a good thing given some of the feedback and criticism this series has received for the overabundance of characters used, which is fair. But for those of us who are fully vested in this era and make every effort to follow all of the storylines, The Fallen Star isn't where those answers lie, nor should you expect to see your favorite comic book character finally graduate in any way. Furthermore, there is one significant character development found in the short stories which will leave you wondering what you missed if you've not read them. Again, for those who follow everything, this was great to see. But generally speaking, I think the core fans of the High Republic have stuck to the young and adult novels, so we'll have to see how they react to all of this and whether or not it's addressed in the final two novels of Phase 1, Midnight Horizon and Mission to Disaster. The Fallen Star is the most ardent High Republic novel to date, maybe the most of any Star Wars novel ever. It does an amazing job of conjuring up the echoes of emotion and anxiety we feel when recalling tales from real-life events of 9/11 or the sinking of the RMS Titanic, which is a tribute to Gray's ability to connect with the reader. We bear witness to and feel the galaxy at large here, and the imagery of tragedy will be imprinted in our Star Wars minds for years to come. And while largely a character-driven piece that may lack the canvas of an epic on the galactic scale, Gray makes up for with acute character development which delivers suspense and tragedy on a more intimate scale. The Fallen Star isn't merely an account of the events that befell Starlight Beacon, as it also begs the questions of who we are in times of crisis and what remains of our identity when it has been stripped. It's a tragic tale that acts as a divergence for the Republic and the Jedi, and leaves both to question their own identities and their future with the loss of their guiding light and shining beacon of hope. And that's going to do it for this spoiler-free review. Hopefully there's enough here for you to get excited about reading this next chapter of the High Republic, which I highly recommend you do. Honestly, you cannot miss this title. Be sure to set a box of tissue off to the side because you're going to need it. And just a quick reminder that Jonesy and I will return in a few weeks to break down The Fallen Star in much, much more detail, and we'll even spend a few episodes doing so. Be sure to catch us every week on the Cantina Cast for more thought-provoking Star Wars talk. May the Force be with all of you, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
You're still listening? Wow, that's amazing. Well, I'm here to give you the disclaimer. Normally we do a big, long, drawn-out disclaimer thing saying what's what and who's what and all that other stuff, but I think you guys kind of know that Lucasfilm and Disney have no affiliation with us at all, and we have none with them. We talk about Star Wars, which is their property and all that other good, fun stuff, but I think you can tell which is our stuff and which is their stuff. If you can't, well, then send a lawyer to send an email to me, and I'll be glad to chat with them. Other than that, you know what's what, so that's your disclaimer.